In the heart of the African savanna, where the golden grasses sway under the intense heat of the sun, lived a remarkably big and, by comparison, undeniably silly crocodile named Cecil. Unlike his brethren, who lived for the thrill of stealthy hunts and quiet lurks beneath the murky waters, Cecil was remarkably different. Cecil had no interest in snapping at the unsuspecting gazelle, or glaring with cold, yellow eyes at the crossing wildebeest. No, Cecile enjoyed laughter, an unusual trait for a crocodile, who could invoke fear with a mere ripple in the water. Cecil's days were a series of boisterous antics and charming stunts that captivated the attention of the young animals in the savannah, whether it was blowing bubbles in the water, simply to watch them pop, or pretending to be a log floating lazily on a river for playful hippos to nudge. Cecil brought amusement and a sense of wonder to all who watched. His most favorite antic, however, was performing an act he named the rolling log routine. Cecil would position himself on the riverbank, front legs stretched out, jaws slightly open, and then with sudden vigor, he would roll onto his back, prompting uproarious laughter from the meerkats and the excitable giggles of monkeys swinging from the trees. One day, word of Cecil's antics reached an elderly lion named Zareth, the grumpy king of the savannah. Zareth was unlike Cecil in every way possible. He was stoic, reserved, and mostly stern. Intrigued by tales of the silly reptile, the lion decided he would see the spectacle for himself. Accompanied by a retinue of interested and somewhat skeptical zebras, elephants, and baboons, Zareth approached the river where Cecil was known to thrive. As they arrived, Cecil was mid-roll, the sun catching his scales with a gleaming brilliance. Laughs erupted instantly from his typical audience, and even within the somewhat serious crowd that had gathered, a hint of a smile cracked on the faces of the more stone-faced creatures, Zareth included. "What do you suppose you gain from all this jollity?" asked Zareth, approaching Cecil as curiosity got the better of his cautious instincts. "Well, dear sir, a bit of laughter never hurt anyone," Cecil replied while stretching his jaw into what could only be described as a crocodilian grin. "You see, life looks a bit brighter when you've made someone smile." Cecil twinkled his eyes knowingly. The lion pondered this curious philosophy. During those moments of thoughtfulness, Zareth felt a lightness in his mane, an often underrated weight lifting, an unusual warmth which softened the long-standing rigidity of his distinguished pride. In time, it was not only Cecil's performances that garnered attention, but also new friendships. Zareth and Cecil formed a peculiar bond that bridged the unlikely gap between predator and potential prey, linked by a shared understanding of life's rhythm and a soft spot for its lighter side. From that point onward, the savannah echoed not just with roars of hunting lions or the grunts of grazing zebras, but the sound of shared laughter. And every time Cecil rolled around acting the fool, one could see, in the shadow of the watching lion, a gentle bobbing mane, swaying with silent giggles at his new friend's joyous antics.